Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Greenfork Food for Thought podcast. Today's guest is Jessica Hauprich. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. She is a mother, she's a realtor, but she's also a marathon runner, Ironman athlete, and so much more. So thanks for coming on. And let's talk a little bit about what you're doing in the Saratoga community and helping organize marathons and everything. But before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into being an athlete, being a runner.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. Sports are a big part of my life. I have 17 siblings, so there was always a ball could go a long way for entertainment. Yeah.
It's a big family.
So 13 brothers, so
Wow.
Sports were always just a part of our culture. And my uncle was athletic director at Spa Catholic for over 30 years, so we'd always have open access to the gym, and it was always a family community thing.
Nice.
So that was just kind of in my blood. But I wasn't really a runner until having my son, and I would just run with a stroller when no one was looking. So I joked that I was like an accidental runner. Like I never meant to become a runner.
Yeah.
So I'd run when no one was looking, and then I just gradually built up to it got too cold to go with him. So I got a treadmill, and I dared myself to run a mile. And that's how it started. I was like, I couldn't believe that I ran a mile. And then I ran 2 miles the next day, and I found out a 5K was only 3.1 miles and not 5 miles. And then I ended up doing a 10 miler. And then it was basically motherhood that it became that time to carve out for myself and chase goals that I never thought before.
Yeah, it's running is a different beast than all the other fitness endeavors, I think, because you're out there by yourself. It does take a little bit of time. For me, it's really meditative, you know, and it's like I don't really think about taking that chunk of time. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do however long it takes for me to get through this. And I really appreciate the journey that I go through, like the struggles sometimes where it can be really hard sometimes, or it can just feel really good sometimes, you know? Yeah. And that's what I like about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Absolutely. It's like the consistency of it. Like I think for a lot of new runners, at least for me and a lot of people I've talked to, is when you first sign up for like a 5K or something, it's about that goal of, can I do this?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing with, once you get into longer races and you commit to it, it's not really so much of like, can I do this? But you find out throughout that journey of putting that why out there that you've changed as a person. You've changed by showing up consistently when it's hard, and you get that mental clearing of it, and it changes your brain as much as your body. Yeah. So that's what I love, is that the race is the why, but the journey changes you as a person. Yeah. It becomes a healthy addiction.
For sure. Yeah. Speaking of races and goals, what kind of races have you done? You've done many marathons or what?
Yes, I've done 10 full marathons.
10, wow.
10 full, yeah. I thought it'd be like a one and done. That was like originally.
Well, like you said, it's addicting, right?
It is, yeah. And it's especially like, I will say, like as a mom, that's been a big part of it, is as a mom, if I could set that one big thing on my calendar for the year, that would give me a why for the entire year. Is okay, I got into New York City Marathon. This whole year, my goal is going to be showing up consistently to get to that race. Yeah. And then it was the friendships of, hey, we're busy moms. Can you meet me at 6 a.m.? And those friendships that happened along the way. And having my kids see me like, okay, mom's tired, she's getting up, and I'm back and I'm making breakfast at 8 a.m. And now my kids are teenagers and they run too, and they have taken that on. So it's the marathon. So I thought it'd be one and done, but I found that each year I was wanting a new why. And then I've done recently this past year my first full Ironman, and it really came from, I was doing my 10th marathon in Philly, and I realized that I wasn't scared by doing another marathon. I didn't really have any goals. I had qualified and ran Boston, and I wanted something that would change me like those other marathons had.
Yeah. What's next, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
Ironmans and then ultras.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that runs ultras.
Yeah.
It's like, that's amazing. Yeah. But you're right. You're totally right about just having that goal. It's something to work for the year. I find that if I'm not registered for like a run or some sort of event, like I'm thinking about doing high rocks. Yeah. But if I don't have that, I'm sort of training aimlessly. Yeah. Which is okay. I have been enjoying the more like playful side of training lately, but having that goal is really big. And I haven't done a full marathon, but I've done a half. Yeah. A couple of halves. The paleo one, and then most recently the Adirondack Marathon up in Schroon Lake.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard.
Here's my beef with that one. Because they say it's rolling hills.
Yeah, no, it's brutal.
It's one hill, and there's like an occasional flat. But the first 3 miles is straight, and then you start going up, I think it's Route 9. Yep. And it's all uphill for like 10 miles.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yes, I've done that one as part of a relay with a bunch of girlfriends, and we actually had a boat like in between the relay part, so it was fun. Nice. It was like a Ragnar on a boat with a. Yeah. It was cool, but we did one when the relay, so we got the cool bears and stuff from that. But that one I had, it was so hilly, it was so hard, and I was like glad that I wasn't doing the full or the half. So kudos to you. That's tough.
Yeah, it was definitely the hardest one. I set out with the intention of beating my original score, my time for the paleo, which was 2 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah.
So that 1 minute was like under my skin for years. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a half and I'm going to beat it in sub 2.
Yep.
And I did. It was like 1:55.55. Oh. So like 5 seconds away, and I did it, and I felt like dizzy and whatever at the end, but I made it.
Yes, that's such a good feeling when you like, crush your goals. And that's what I love too as part of it, is like you have that goal, you have that why. It gives you such drive. And and if you get it, I always say, like, I've coached before. I've coached in Saratoga, I've coached in Cobleskill, and that kind of has led to, I've coached girls in the run, and that's led to the run club. So I always say it's always good to go in with an A and a B and a C goal. And so what I tell my students, or the kids in my track team, is what's your A goal? And that's like, if you had a magic wand with all of your training, that's what you're shooting for. B is something close to a PR, and C is, hey, maybe I didn't poop my pants, and I'll take that away. Like, it's like the absolute easiest thing, hopefully, for people to hit.
Yeah, my goal usually is to go without stopping.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if I stop, then I kind of lose momentum.
Yeah.
This one, I had to stop for, like, towards the end, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, if I still want to get that 2 hours, I have to get moving. So I walk for a little and then go, and it's really... just that inner motivation, you know, that really only comes out for me in running.
Yeah.
If I don't get through a full workout, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not pushing as much as I was last week, that's fine. But with running, it's like, I want to do that. I want to get there. You know, I want to go that extra mile, or I want to do it in the faster time, or whatever. And that's great. It's fun for me.
I feel like that's the beauty of running, is that, like, you know, the transformation that I've had from from being a new mom with a stroller and just running when no one was looking, this not very confident woman, to someone who's now an Ironman finisher, is it was about showing up and believing it and telling yourself. It's so important for athletes to say positive things. And when it gets tough, because it does, it's hard, when you have that mental toughness, and you can learn to be. A big switch for me was when I had beat myself up in some marathons, that I had big goals and I didn't, and I was tough in my head and feeling guilty for, you know, being in these races and taking time. And when I learned to be positive to myself and talk with self-love and give myself grace, then I got faster. And I changed, not just as a, you know, as an athlete, but as a mom, as a person, as a friend, someone who's like resilient and strong, but can also give myself grace and be like, you know, you give your best. And I think it just translates to every other area of your life.
Absolutely. That's great. Very well said. Love is stronger than fear. And, you know, I think if you can use that, if you can tap into that as a motivator, and just, you know, again, you set that why. The ultimate goal is like, why am I doing this? Well, because I want to be healthier, you know, usually, and just to prove myself, you know. But if you, having grace, if you fall short, okay, whatever, like, you're still doing the training and you're still working towards a goal. And that's, you know, not to compare yourself to others, but like, you're in the top 1% if you're even doing anything like that, you know, which is great. So you just did the Ironman. How was that?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Different than just running, right?
I mean, it was a whole new beast. I had signed up. I was training for Philly Marathon. It was during my taper. So during that taper, you have, you know, the 18 weeks of build up, or however long, and then you have 2 weeks where your body has to kind of settle before, you know, racing. And so during those 2 weeks, I was feeling jittery, and I was like, I'm not afraid. Like, I know I can push through any hard thing. It wasn't the same as other races. I didn't have a big time goal because I had gone past an injury. And so I wanted something that was going to change me, that was going to scare me, that was going to excite me. And I was afraid of open water swimming, which I think for a lot of triathletes is a thing, is to swim. And I was like, I can't swim. I don't know how. I'd fallen in love with biking while training for Boston and injured. And so that was kind of the gateway. And so I decided then, I'm going to learn. I know I can't swim well, like, you know, I could doggy paddle, you know, but I couldn't organize swim. And I committed to myself. I was, you know, the fact that I can't do it makes me know that I should do it. And so I signed up in the next morning at 5 a.m. I was at the pool at the YMCA, and the lifeguard, Rich, was amazing. And I said, I might be flopping around here. I'm not going to drown, but I'll take any pointers. I'm very coachable. And he helped me on my journey.
That's great.
So that was like the initial, was like, that was the why. And then the journey itself was very humbling and hard, and sticking to it. But it was really like my community, the Saratoga Tri Club, that was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. And they were always there. Try this. This worked for me. And that support got me through that journey, and that was life-changing.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's great that you're always looking for that next thing and like going for what scares you. You know, I don't think a lot of people do that, but you know, a lot of people want to stay where they're comfortable and whatever, but growth is in trying things that you're scared of or trying something new, and that can also translate into real life as well, into other aspects of your life. I mean, you know, with career and, you know, whatever else, family, whatever you're going for.
A lot of times I think as adults, like we get stuck in a routine. You know, maybe it's you're a parent and you're busy doing the grind with your kids, and you know, you're working, you're doing that, but when you're showing up for yourself in a way that excites you, makes you passionate, more healthy, gives you connections, that joy is going to trickle to your relationship with your kids. It's going to translate to your friends. It's going to translate to your colleagues. It's going to translate to everything. And it's going to be infectious if you know, because you get all these endorphins and stuff from it, and you're healthier, and other people want that, and then everyone around you, you're surrounded by those kinds of people, and it's a good life.
It's inspiring. You know, and that's great. I love that you're doing that. So let's talk about the I Run Social Club. Right. It's a group of people that run together. You guys do it outside in the good weather. And then you moved inside to the YMCA. How did that come about, and how did you get a hold of it?
So there was years ago when I was first a young mom and running, I wanted to find like a group for long runs. I had read about it in Runner's World, and I had tried some run clubs in the community that I felt like I didn't fit in. I didn't feel like I was greeted or welcomed at first, and that was fine. But I found a girlfriend who went to I Run Local, and I heard about them. And back then, the owners, Jamie and Anthony, were there, and there was maybe 5 of us, and we'd meet in the morning. And a girlfriend and I had stayed connected through there. She since moved away. But so that was kind of where the I Run came in. And there was just kind of this small, intimate group of us that would meet Thursdays, or we would text on it. But then throughout the years, the former store manager had started one in the evenings, and it was kind of a small group, and she since has gotten married and moved away. But I would go to that group, and when she was going to move away, they kind of needed a new leader. So I kind of stepped in and started sharing it on social media, and people, you know, it was a positive place. I wanted to make sure people always felt welcome and invited and greeted, and that kind of became the culture. And so that's how it started. And then when winter, you know, started to come, it got to be too cold, and I realized in the winter people still need to get together even more. They need connection, but it's also not safe. So the YMCA has been amazing for us to use the indoor track. It may be a little crazy going in circles there, but we have fun and we're moving together. So you got to make the best of it. And that way no one gets hurt, because that's my top priority, is I want people to keep showing up healthy.
And do you find yourself in a coaching role there too, where you're like, you know, because different people have different paces or different levels of experience, so you like break people off into pairs or groups?
That was always a goal when we started, because it was harder when it was smaller. In the summer, sometimes we have 50 people that meet at the store, and we're going downtown. So I'm thankfully, one of my strengths is that I recognize people with names pretty well, so I usually know almost everyone's name when they come in there. But if they're new, I always try to greet them and try to find someone, find out what their training goals are, find out what their pace is, and find them basically a friend. Because when people show up to these things, they're not just looking for someone to run with, they're looking for a community, they're looking to make them. We're so busy on our phones. So I always want them to match them up with someone that might be a good fit to hopefully form a friendship. And then we do the pace groups, but we also try to pair them off based off of their goals and interests. And
that's awesome.
It's become an amazing community of friendships. It's amazing.
That's great. I was going to say that's kind of the same thing that I do at Battleground. You know, it's just a local community gym, and we have people that come in, and as a trainer, as a coach, I, you know, will look at somebody when they first come in and like kind of assess them and see how they are. But then people just come together and help each other out, and it's so great. Is this run club, is it free? It's free.
I share it on Facebook and Instagram. We have a thing called I Run Social. I Run Local's social media also promotes it, and I share it on my personal page, but I let people know if there's weather updates or changes. Sometimes we do like special runs where we have like Saucony or Hoka or On Running. They come and they bring demo shoes, so we have like special runs too.
Oh, that's cool.
But and the cool thing is that like, you know, you can show up, there's no pressure, but usually we have such a strong rotation, and when people show up, like, it's just, everyone's happy to see you, no matter what your day is. If you're having a good day, a bad day, work, life, kids, you show up, and I joke it's the healthy happy hour. We're just like, yay, our friends are here, it's recess, and like, it's awesome, and it's just such a positive community, and even if you're having a bad day, you always leave with a smile.
That's amazing. I feel like, you know, a lot of people tell me that like the best moment of their day is when they come to the gym, or when they're with, you know, because everybody's like-minded and they're all there for health reasons and just want to be better, and it's uplifting. And then, you know, people go to work and have to deal with the problems of their day, So it's nice to have that hour or so to unwind and just do something for yourself. It's really nice with a community that's also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. It's like this amazing circle that whether you're in or you're out, like people are always, especially even if you're injured, like people are always wanting to help you, support you through your comeback. And everyone just wants to see you succeed. And we don't always have that in other areas of your life. So it's really cool to be like, it's a really magical, awesome thing.
Yeah. I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a run club or like just a community workout, like a free workout in the park or something. I know people do that.
Yeah.
My friend and I were talking about having like a wellness fair kind of thing where it's like a workout and then we get a bunch of local businesses to come in and have like demonstrations and giveaways or whatever. But, you know, Saratoga is health, history, and horses.
Yep.
And we see a lot of bars and restaurants downtown, but we don't see a lot of like health and wellness clubs, you know, besides yours and then like gyms that you have to kind of pay to be a part of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Saratoga needs more healthy options.
Yeah. And I think there's such like a strong need for it. Like everyone, I think you can just see it everywhere in the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. A couple of rapid fire questions when it comes to running.
Okay.
What kind of music do you listen to usually?
If I'm doing a solo long run, then I will listen to a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for a solo long run, because it helps me keep my pace in the right like zone too.
Yeah.
But for music, I'm a Christian. I like my inspiring music like Toby Mac, you know, Forrest Frank, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always put on though, if I'm going through Spotify, I just put on like inspiring, positive running mix, and I make sure whatever I'm putting in is positive, and it makes like that runner's high even higher. Yeah. So it's as long as it's positive, motivating. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. What's your favorite type of weather to run in? Are you a hot weather or cold?
I do like my hot weather runs in the summer, but 50 degrees with rain for a race is like my favorite. I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about water, hydrating. I want to be just comfortable enough. Yeah. So, but I'll take my sunny day runs and just I'll survive the winter ones.
I think, 50 or 60 degrees with like a drizzle is like perfect.
Yep.
Because I sweat. I run hot and I sweat my ass off. So just that drizzle is nice. And I was talking to somebody today who's a runner, and I was like, "Oh, it's going to be a high of 26 today, guys. Like, what are you going to do?" And she's like, "I'm going to go for a run." Yeah, that's a little too chilly for me. Yeah, but I could see it. I could do it. Yeah. You know?
I will say, like, when my kids were little, that got me into the endurance running. I had 4 kids in 3.5 years. Yeah. So my twins, they came 10 weeks early. They were preemies, and I had like the visiting nurse would have to come to my house, so I couldn't leave the house. So when I went for my run, that was like my only time to move my body and get outside. And I would take negative 10 degrees in a blizzard and run from Saratoga to Boston Spa and back, and just be covered in snow because I needed that release. Yeah. So sometimes the weather, it's like if you need that run, put on the layers, feel on the pop.
There's something cool about like digging through, you know, like Rocky when he's facing the Russians, he's training in Russia and he runs up those snowy mountains. It's like rough and rugged. That's why I like trail running, because you're running through the woods and I don't know, I feel like Wolverine or something.
Yeah, it brings us back to like where we're kind of meant to be, like as you know, going back to like we're meant to be outside, we're meant to be in nature, we're meant to move. That mind and body connection that happens out there, like. Yeah. You know, if you put the right amount of layers on, whether it's hot or cold or hydration, when you have that, it's just, it takes you to a whole new place. Like, it's where I'm most creative and have my best ideas, where I work through things, is out in nature on those runs. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. How do you feel about treadmills? Can you run on them for a long period of time?
I can. When my kids were little, I would train for marathons. So I do like 15 miles on a treadmill, watching Netflix with my kids throwing balls at my feet and jumping off them. So if I have to do a treadmill, I will. But it is I have one in my garage I don't use, like maybe twice a year if I have to. But I'm not a fan. Yeah. When circumstances call for it, I'll do it. But I'll leave it. It's a pass.
It's really tough for me to get into it. Like I did a 5K the other day, and I was like, I don't know. And that's because I felt motivated to do it. Yeah. You know, if I wasn't feeling it, like it sucks. I can barely do a mile sometimes.
Exactly. You know? It's grinding. I will say, like, if I were to go on it, when I do, I like to play games like, okay, I'm going to do like speed pickups or speed drills to make it more fun. But when you're just looking there waiting for something to end, you don't get all the mental things that we're talking about from running. Yeah. I don't get that same creativity. I'm like, how much longer do I have to?
Yeah. All the worst parts about running, where you're like, when is this over? Is constant when you're on a treadmill.
Yeah, it's kind of like makes me think of too, is like how like you get so much from the mental part of running versus like you kind of lose some of that mental release when you're on a treadmill. Yeah. Which is such a big part of why we go out and run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What type of shoes do you wear when you run?
Everything.
Yeah.
So I used to be, before before my iRun days, I used to be like, okay, what's in runner's world? What's popular? We're the same thing year after year. And then especially with demo runs, that's why I love the demo runs. Trying different ones out, I find there's different shoes for different types of runs.
Yeah.
So I love like my On Cloud runners are one of my favorites, my Hoka Mach X2s. So Saucony, Endorphins, I love, but I say everyone go to a store, try it out, run different speeds on the treadmill. But I shop around with my shoes. I like a variety, and they change year to year. So I'm not a loyalist with a shoe.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I ran the paleo one, the first one I ever did, and trained for it in barefoot shoes.
Oh God.
Yeah. It was cool. I did it, but now I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I tried to get back into it when I was training for this last one, and I needed something with a little more support.
Yeah.
But I don't love like 2-inch, padding underneath my feet.
Yeah.
So I found the Ultras are pretty nice.
Yep.
I forget which one it is, but there's like a minimal level of padding, but it's just enough, and it's a wide toe box, and I like that.
Yeah. Trail runners seem to love those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried like the Nike Vaporflies. People were all into for a while, and they have like a lift in the bottom, but you just feel like you're running on like a trampoline. It feels weird, and you don't feel stable. Like, so you got to find what fits, but also like it's got to work with it. And if you switch, one thing I found with a lot of running friends in the community is if you switch to a new shoe and you like switch all your mileage to it, then you can get injury even if it's a good shoe. So like even that transitioning of when you find a shoe and love it, don't just do all your new miles in it.
Yeah,
but
you gotta
like,
break it in first. Yeah.
So important. That's why I love diversity too, is I think it keeps me injury free. In addition to strength, is like switching my shoes up.
Do you do any other cross training?
I do. I'm a big Peloton person, so I do like strength. I'll do for that. I bike a ton. Mm-hmm. I swim, not as much as I should, but I do swim too. Yeah. But I like to I hike, but I do a lot of different things.
You strength train at all?
Like with weights?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll do like my Peloton ones. I should get into a local gym and do it more.
Yeah, you should come by and try us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I'm like, it keeps being on my list of the box I keep need to like check more.
I mean, it's important. I think Pat Campbell was the guy that told me about you, and he stresses the importance of cross training and mobility and strength training just to keep your joints and everything healthy. He talks about like if you're just on this linear path all the time doing the same repetitive thing, the body's going to get overcompensate for things, and you're going to get injured. There's a more highly what am I saying? There's a more of a chance that you're going to get injured.
Yes. Yeah. Especially with strength. Like I find like I try to do like my Peloton like strength for runners ones, and they're like more of like the single leg ones. So because you go from one leg to the other so much that you really want to make sure your ankles and stuff. I spent a long time in PT last year for an Achilles injuring. And then the side to side, when you're like Pat was saying, like we were saying, like going forward, you need to do those side to side movements that keeps your hips strong, and plus bone density as we get older.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, I know all the reasons I need to check the box more. I just got to make time.
Yoga for runners is great. You know, that mobility, because your hips get really tight, and I know my hip flexors when I run a lot.
Oh yeah.
I have to spend a lot of time negating those long runs.
Yeah, that's another box I need to check.
Well, there's plenty of local spots that you can check out for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the Saratoga iRun half marathon, this is really exciting. I've been waiting for this because, like I said, the last one was the paleo, and that was like 2019.
Yeah, it was the last one in person, and 2020 was virtual.
Yeah. So tell me about how this whole concept got started and everything.
Yeah, I being a local runner and being involved in the local running community, I love the race. I look forward to it. I loved all the conversations I had with people leading up to it. Yeah. And then after it, anytime I'd see someone with a paleo shirt, we talk about it, and I'd always hear, I missed that distance. I missed a reason to train that distance. That was the one half I do. Yeah. And after a while, I was like, man, we need that race back. Yeah. And so I started having some conversations with other local running companies and stuff, and they were like, nope, it's too hard. The police are too hard. And finally one day I was like, screw it. I'm going to make it happen. Like, nobody's going to do it. It became in the back of my head is like, that's going to be my goal. That's going to be, and that's really, and then I started having the conversations with other people that directed races in the area that were invested. Jamie and Anthony Mastriani from iRun Local, they were on board, and my friend Paul Loomis, who does Roundabout Runners at the Malta 5K. Okay. So I started having these conversations, and it came from how does it happen to let's make this happen. We had secret meetings kind of for a while, and then started meeting with the police to figure out the route, and little by little we got to the point where we could finally announce it. So
that's great. So how does it work? You have to plan the route, propose it to the police department, and make sure that they can block it off for that amount of time. Is that pretty much it? You have to have medical staff on board, or?
Yes, the whole process from the beginning was a lot for the initial, just to even get the meeting with the police.
Yeah.
So we had Sergeant Jay, who's amazing. We met with him to go over the map we kind of used. We wanted to create a new route because the infrastructure of Saratoga has changed so much. There's been new bike paths since Palio, so we wanted to add it in. We didn't want to have to deal with a lot of logistics with state routes for a city that we would have to wait longer to get a map approved.
Okay.
And we wanted to highlight the best running places of Saratoga. As being a local runner, as someone who I just absolutely love running here.
Yeah.
We have such a beautiful place to run.
Yeah.
I wanted this race to feature as much as we could of the best segments in Saratoga.
So where does it go through?
Yeah, so I can only share a little bit now because for the police until everything's approved. We have some new members, so we have to a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's starting in Congress Park.
Okay.
It's going to be finishing in High Rock in Saratoga. After party at Druthers, who we can finally announce as our title sponsor. Same as Druthers, so they're on board. Cool. We're going to highlight the Beekman Street Art District, so I'm so excited to have people run through there, through Railroad by the YMCA, going out to the state park. We're going to involve the new bike path. There will be one hill, for those worried about hills, on the east-west that was in Palio around mile 9.
Yep.
We're going to have some of the backstretch of the track will be there.
Nice.
We'll have some historic homes. We really want to, for the neighborhoods that are there and the businesses, we really want them to be out loud, highlighting their business. This is not just for runners, but this is for Saratoga. We want to highlight the community, the people, everyone to have a part in this, in the health of what Saratoga represents.
It's so amazing. That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. We needed it, and I'm glad somebody stepped up and did it. And it's amazing.
So anyone who wants to volunteer, help out, it's going to be a community-wide, thing. We're going to need a lot of hands on board to make it happen, but I want it to be basically like a running birthday party for Saratoga.
Yeah.
Special, highlight things, and just make everyone feel really special who's either a part of it, either running it or supporting it.
I love it. I love it. Are you collecting sponsors?
Yes, we're just starting that now too. We have our title sponsor, Druthers, and right now we're reaching out. So, especially businesses in the health-related field, we love medical. We've had so many people just reach out, offering medic tents, stretching in recovery zones after. We're going to have a lot of these, but
that's great. Oh, well, I'd like to do what I can.
Absolutely.
It's a healthy food business here. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's great.
Yep.
There's other runs in Saratoga that are kind of famous. I know the Turkey Trot, that's like a big one.
Yep.
The Firecracker 4. I've ran those before. Turkey Trot's always a good time through Skidmore.
Yeah.
Firecracker 4 is always so hot.
Yes.
It is so hot. But the route is nice, and what I love about that one is, like you said, all the people that come out with their hoses spraying you off, and ice pops and Gatorade and water and music along the way, and that's always a really good time. Is there any races that you enjoy doing around here?
Oh, yeah. I like the first day 5K. It's a great one, too. Mother's Day is the Kelly's Angels 5K. There's so many. I mean, there's always, especially, in the state park throughout the year, there's more, too, that just go for a different cause. Malta 5K, that's a great one, ran by Paul Loomis. Does a lot to give back to the community, too, from that one. So that's another great one for people to put in their calendars in September. And those are just Saratoga. You go to, Erie has so many down in Albany, Helderberg to Hudson, Electric City.
I'm going to do
5K and 10K.
The two that I'm planning for this year are the Helderberg to Hudson, because I heard that's mostly flat.
Yes. Yep.
And then the Saratoga one.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
Definitely got to do it.
And when we put that on the calendar, when we were looking at it, is we wanted to complement dates for other runners who may be doing the full marathon. So we wanted it to fit in so they'd have enough time to do it as a test race if they're doing the half, or to do a last long run race and recover for the marathon. So we did, part of when we planned it was kind of similar to Palio, but also to complement those who want to take on those races. So
that's great. Yeah. Excellent. Is there any other, wellness businesses in Saratoga? I think it's cool that I run a shoe store is doing more than just selling shoes. They're part of the community. They're helping sponsor, and you don't work for them but you work with them, right? And using that as leverage to kind of sponsor these events. Is there any other businesses in Saratoga that you've seen that have done anything cool like this?
I see a lot of run clubs. So other businesses, I'd love to see more with other businesses. I have some ideas where I'd like to see with different ones merge. But I do see a lot of other run clubs that are in the area. That run clubs have become, there's Spa City Run Club, there's Saratoga Striders, there's a Glens Falls one for mother runners, there's another Glens Falls Run Clubs. But I will say, And I see they do collaborate in different ways,
Yeah.
but I will say, like, I think that this running community,
Yeah.
it's like, I love what we have and I love our group and I love our culture, but I always tell people, check out another club, see if you like
Sure.
it, because you could run, 7 days a week if you wanted to in a run club
Yeah.
and have people. And I love like networking with other
Yeah.
health partner businesses to learn more, because we all have the same want and desire to live a healthier, better life.
Yeah.
And so through these things, we're able to meet more people that
Yeah.
share that for people to, proceed on their health journey. And
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I find about this healthy community is when you show up and you're healthier and you get better, then you're more invested in the community because you're not worried about your health. And when you're healthier, you can make your whole community better and so I think it doesn't even just go to like your own personal level, but it really becomes a community thing.
It's so true. It's like, they say that you take your health for granted.
Yeah.
You don't realize what you have until
Yeah.
you get sick or you get injured or whatever. And then you realize, oh my gosh, like now this is my one priority, where if I just did a little bit every day to invest in myself and my health, I can show up a little bit better and not have to worry about that and stave off all the problems.
Yeah.
One thing I was just thinking about, I think it was a 10K that I really want to see come back was the zombie run.
Oh.
Yeah. Have you ever done that one?
I think I've heard of that one. I've never done it.
It was in the state park. I don't know who organized it, but it was through the state park, and you had in flag football, you had a belt with 3 flags on it.
Yeah.
And you had to make it through the 5 or 10K. I forget what it was. And people were dressed up all throughout the whole park. People were dressed up as zombies or creatures or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had like a little 10 to 20 foot radius that they were allowed to chase you down.
Cool.
So you had to like duck and dodge and pivot and whatever. And it was so much fun. And I want to see that come back.
Oh my gosh.
I did not make it alive through the thing.
Did you?
I made it pretty far. I got like probably, 3/4 of the way through before I got my last thing taken. But yeah, it was cool. And then, all the crazy costumes and monsters and whatever. And the thing that kind of freaked me out the most was that some father had brought his little daughter. She was like maybe 3 years old, and she had this makeup on, and she was holding this little doll, and she was in like this white gown, and it was creepy.
Yeah.
Really, really creepy.
Wow.
But anyways, stuff that's fun like that, I would love to see come back. I know that there's like, costume runs, like people dress up as dinosaurs or bananas or whatever. Have you ever done anything like that?
Actually, so for Iron, we did, it was one of the most fun. Actually, Pat was part of that, Dr. Campbell. We went to his for one of it, but we did a Saratoga scavenger hunt that Iron Local did. We all showed up in costumes at Iron. There must have been 50 plus people there, and we went to different businesses, and each business would have a challenge. Like when we went to like Northshire, you had to name a Dr. Seuss book to get your raffle tickets. These businesses had given raffle tickets, but we all ran downtown to different places on the map as a group in costume on like a night, and it was just the most fun. I think I couldn't think of a costume. It was last minute and I was tired, so I put on my bathrobe and I put my stuffed animal on it and had like my sleep stuff, and I said, I'm just showing up tired. This is good. And I ran through downtown in my bathrobe and slippers, and it was a stuffed animal. And
I love it.
It was like for us, some people were running in hot dogs and all sorts of, and that's what I love about this community and culture. It's like you're still being a big kid. Like just because you're an adult and have to do your adult stuff and be responsible doesn't mean there's not that part of us that loves like that zombie run. Yeah, I'd love to see that come back to you. I never got to do that, but there's 9 months, and I'm sure we could rally.
Yeah, I'd love to be a part of that. That'd be great.
Yeah, and especially when you can partner. What I love about these things is when you can partner it for a cause. Yeah, that's a great thing when people have the means and the desire to give back and invest in our community. Yeah, you do something like that, you find a why that's meaningful, and more people want to rally for that, and it helps something by you just simply showing up and having fun.
What is are you partnered with anybody for the half marathon?
Yes, yeah. So we are, for the Druthers is our title sponsor. Mm-hmm. And so Brian Martell, one of the brothers who is an owner of Druthers, passed away from cancer. Right. They started a foundation in his memory. And so that is going to be the leading, our leading why and benefactor for this one. And we might partner a few more in there to go with it, but that's going to be our main one to get back to.
That's amazing.
And so in each of these races I love, like Kelly's Angels goes back to the Month 11 Day 5K goes back to Kelly's Angels, but each one usually
the
goes back
trot
to
the
Christopher Daly Fund. Yeah. That was my first 5K ever, and it was literally seeing people do it inspired me to be like, hey, maybe I'll try a 5K. These people seem to like it. It seems like fun. And I did that when I was in UMOM with one kid, and then a couple years later I saw there was a local half, and so I decided to do a half marathon because it was local and it was there, and it gave me a why to do something on my own that I could, besides being a mom and a business owner, that was something for me.
Yeah.
But having it locally in the community, which is part of bringing this race back to, is wanting to give other people a reason who may not travel to do a half to have one right here in your community.
Yep.
And I'm seeing so much of it already, people training because of this race. And it was 1 month and we had like 460 people registered in a month.
Wow.
So I'm thinking we're going to have like 2,000 runners for this. It's going to be
cool.
amazing.
Saratoga needs one.
Yeah.
You know, we're a big enough city where like we need one here. I think, does Troy have one, Albany?
Albany's, they've got some half marathons. They've got like Helderberg to Hudson. They've got a few in the bike paths, but my goal for this is kind of like a lot of people know Boilermaker, which is iconic in Utica, where the community is such a big part of what makes Boilermaker. That's kind of what I want for this, is I want it to be the locals, the people there, the businesses. I want everyone to be loud and proud. I want like at least 7 bands on the route. I want local bands that lead see out. I want them cheering people. I want cheering stations. I'd like the kids' schools to be doing the water station, so the kids are supporting the adults and seeing their adults, like, you know, peers, teachers, friends, parents training for this. Like, I want it to be all of that.
That's amazing.
Not just a road race. Thank you.
It's great.
So,
the Adirondack one that I just did, I think one of the coolest parts about it, which I wish it was more towards the end, but you go through this, it's like a Christian camp that they have right there. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but they had 3 groups of kids where kids were lined up probably 20, 30 feet on each side. And every time you ran by, they were like, they started like a slow clap and like a, you know, like a chant. They're like, and then they're running. And it just hyped me up so much. It was so amazing. And I think it's so powerful to have that. So like, along the route to have people that are just cheering and going nuts. It's
not just about, like, that's the thing that I love about the running community. It's not just the runners. Like, a race isn't fun if you don't have people cheering you on. You may not, sometimes you're the runner, sometimes you're the cheer. Like, I love showing up with my cowbells, and like, I've had injuries from my cowbells. Like, I've not, like, my ears, and like, people don't want to be around. Like, I want to give that energy. You can give that energy of yourself just by being excited for someone else. You can do that by being on the sidelines. Make a funny sign and make someone laugh. Like, there's so many ways to be a part of a race without running it. Like, you can do that, but you can be equally as invested. And I can't tell you how many races I've been to that I've had points like where I've felt tired and like drained. Like, the people's faces are ingrained in my head of when I really needed it, and maybe my name was on my shirt and they said, "Good job, Jess, you got this." And I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to pick up the slack because they could tell I need it. And like, that person gave me something just by being that. And that's the really cool thing, is we all are part of this whole circle. So
it's amazing. It really is.
That's
great.
A great community.
You know what else I think is cool about running is that, you know, you see people that you wouldn't think would be out there, and they're out there crushing it, you know? People in wheelchairs, people with injuries or disabilities or whatever, and they're out there getting after it. And it's just, that's also really inspiring to see. You know, I'm like a pretty healthy guy, athletic, I train a lot, whatever. And I'm like on a decent pace. Then I see somebody who's like, you know, from the looks of it would be out of shape or whatever, and they're like beating me. And I'm like, wow, you know what? Didn't expect that, but that's awesome. You know, good for you. That's great. So all kinds of people can get involved.
Anyone can do. I've ran in races next to people with no legs. Like, you know, double amputees in Boston that were out there, you know, running after the bombing. Like, it is such an inspiring thing. And that's the thing, is that it's so easy for us to say, like, what I did to myself before I was a runner is I said, "Oh, you can't do that." And then a voice one day was like, "Why not? Like, why do you think they can and you can't?" And it was like, okay, well, then it was like committing to it. And then it was like, well, now how do I do it? You look up a training plan, you find a group of people, you tell people, and then that changes you. But like, anyone can do it. I honestly believe almost anyone can do this distance, but you have to be consistent. You have to give yourself grace. You can't do too much too soon and get injured. And that's really like the greatest metaphor for life, is if you want to get here, it's not just going to happen. You have to
baby steps.
Baby steps to get where you need to go, and give yourself grace and just be consistent.
It's pretty low barrier to entry too, right? You just need a decent pair of shoes. And you can get out there.
You can go anywhere. And the great thing is, you know, like I've said, like, the relationships you can form throughout it by just saying, "Hey, do you want to go with me?" By having that accountability, you're doing not only, you know, yourself a favor, but you're showing up for someone else when maybe you wouldn't show up for yourself. And for me, those relationships are the longest, most meaningful relationships that I've had in my life, because we've seen each other at our most genuine, raw, like, inspiring each other, pushing. Some days it's good, some days it's bad, but you're just always showing up, not only for yourself, but for someone else. And it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. I think one of the most inspiring things I've seen is at a Spartan race.
Yeah.
And there's, wounded veterans that are out there, and you'll have a whole crew behind like 1 or 2 people that are trying to do it. There was like this part of the trail where it's up a mountain, this steep, not clear path at all, like over rocks and stumps and fallen trees and everything and mud and whatever. Yeah. And they're carrying this guy that's supposed to be in a wheelchair. They're carrying him up and like making sure that he finishes that race. Yeah. And that like just kind of blew me away at the time. I was like, holy crap, this is yeah. I think it's that kind of thing.
It's like different than other kind of sports. Like if you're watching football, you're watching basketball, you're watching baseball, it's one team versus another. Yeah. When you have like this endurance community, it's everyone for that person. Whatever that person's individual goals are, like you want to see that person do well. Like those people that you're saying, like Karen, it's like you want to see them do well. Yeah. And we don't always have that in our personal life and our friendships and other things. Yeah. And so if we can have that in that community, it changes everything in your life to have that.
Yeah. Or like when you see at the end of a race, like if somebody's like staggering, I see the videos of it. Yeah. The person behind them doesn't care about winning the race. Yeah. They'll pick them up and walk with them across, and it doesn't matter who wins, Yeah. They just want to finish together and make sure that person finishes. Yep. Yeah.
You can really see the good in humanity in a race like that. It's just, those videos like cheer me up a lot. Like I see them like, wow, like look at this person, this act of selflessness for another person and a stranger. Yeah. And there's so much good in the world. There's so many good people. And I think it's a great way to see it as it comes out a lot in that community.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of off topic, but I ask all my guests this. Yeah. If you were on death row for any reason or whatever, it was going to be your last meal. You could have anything you wanted. Doesn't matter what it is, as much of it as you want. What would it be? Your last meal.
My last meal, and this is really pathetic, but it would be a jar of Teddies and a spoon.
Yeah, peanut butter.
For me, peanut butter is my ultimate comfort food. Maybe a peanut butter taco. I make these things where I take a protein wrap and I put peanut butter in it, sometimes with a banana and a little bit of agave nectar and like a trilogy seed, and I roll it up like a taco. That's my quick on the go, but I would probably have a peanut butter and banana taco. Yeah. Nice. Or just Teddies from a spoon.
Yeah, that's great. I love peanut butter. We were talking about the peanut butter company. Yes. Maybe you could get them to have a little thing there. Although I don't know about eating peanut butter while you're running. Have you done that?
I mean, I pretty much, like not while running, but before, like I mentioned before, like I had my emergency peanut butter jars. I keep one in my desk. I keep it in my car because sometimes I don't have time to eat meals, which is why I need to get food from you for the meal prep that we're talking about. Not having time to make food is, you got to be really disciplined about that. But so peanut butter is usually my quick calories if I'm training.
It's high calories. It's fat, a little bit of protein. Yeah. It'll do. Yeah. But you got to have carbs, protein, fiber, vegetables, all that stuff. You're friends with Lindsay. She told you.
Yes. Yep.
What I didn't ask you this, but what kind of like supplements do you use while you're running? Like the goos, the gels, the chew tablets. What do you? Electrolytes? Yeah,
I love electrolytes. I'm big into Element. Yeah. I love Element for salt. For when I'm running long runs, especially in the heat, and for my biking, I use Tailwind. In my water, I like to drink my calories like on the bike for Ironman training. So I'll do Tailwind, has electrolytes, some caffeine, but I'll do that one. Let's see, what are some others? Goo, I do goos. Yeah. And then actually did Dr. Keith Donato in Saratoga did a running assessment on me, and we had a great talk about bikes, but he introduced me to Goo Roctane salt pills. Okay. They're like $10 on Amazon when I get them. Yeah. But the salt in them, I use that for my long runs and for my long bike rides, and they help avoid cramping. Yeah. But those are some of the supplements that I really have been like my tried and true. Is I have my gels. I do like Cliff Blocks too, but generally every 4 miles I try to fuel on my long runs.
I never really did anything. I'm kind of just like a naturalist, right? I like, I'll drink some electrolytes in my water, but I don't like to carry anything when I run. So, for the half, I put the gel blocks. It was like electrolytes and caffeine, sugar. Yeah. But I found it hard to chew and run at the same time, and then my mouth would be all like, I need some water, and I'd have to wait for the next water thing. Yeah. I don't know. I just like to be, and then also when I'm digging into my pocket, it's like covered in sweat and it's so gross.
Yes, yeah. When I did, when I qualified for Boston Marathon, it was Miles in the Mohawk when they had a full marathon there, and my girlfriend helped me with water, but I had chocolate, Roctane, Goo, or chocolate is like an espresso rectangle. It had 70 milligrams of caffeine per packet, but it exploded in my pants pocket. When I got to the race, I literally had to like reach into like chocolate all over my legs and my hands, and it just wasn't. I'm like, I'll never put them in my pants pockets before a race driving there again.
Yeah.
But the Goo Roctane with 70 milligrams of caffeine for race day only gives you that competitive edge.
Do you do any kind of pre-workout, like not a pre-workout, because those are like crazy amounts of caffeine and stuff that dilates your blood vessels, which is not good for running. I think I've made that mistake, and people don't take a pre-workout before you run. Yeah. Caffeine is great.
Yes.
Electrolytes are great, but don't over-caffeinate either. Yeah. You know, I think 70 milligrams like every half hour or so like is good for me. Yeah. But if I do like 300 milligrams before a run, my heart rate gets too much and I burn out too quickly.
Yes, yeah. I like sometimes I'll have like a cold brew coffee before a run, and my friends usually know when I show up at Run Club, because this is me like not caffeinated right now. Yeah. So when I have caffeine, what happens is when I'm running, my feet and my mouth usually go the same pace, and it's just not good. So I generally try not to have it, but if I do, if I'm like feeling tired, I'll do like cold brew, and that will give me a good jolt to wake up if I'm haven't slept well or something that night.
Yeah. And another thing, you know, kind of getting back to where we started, the good things about running is that you don't really have to have a ton of energy. Like once you get going, the energy comes. Yeah. And if it's a slower pace that day, who cares? Yeah. You're still out there.
Exactly. You know? And that's one thing too, is like a lot of times people, especially when you're new to running, you're so worried about your pace, and like, no, it's good to go slow. Like you want to go slow to build up endurance. There are times to run fast, like during speed workouts and different things, but it's okay to go slow. And then like you're saying, like when you have those runs where you're going slow, sometimes if you can just get out the door and be like, okay, maybe I don't feel like running 7 miles today, but if I can say that I'm going to go out and run like 1 or 2, by the time I get there, I'm going to have the runner's high and I'm going to want to go to the 7. I'm going to be feeling good. Yeah. And if I don't, that's okay too. If my body needs something different, you have to like, the grace is such a big part. Don't be so strict. Don't be a perfectionist. Yeah. Give your body what it needs. Don't sell yourself short, but also that took me time to learn.
There's been times where I set out to do 10 miles or whatever, and by mile 6, I'm like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. But then there's also times where I go out to do 6 and I end up doing 10. Yeah. So, you know, it's just going with the flow and giving yourself grace when you need it, or that push when you need it.
Exactly. And like sometimes you just get those runs and the mental clearing miles, you just don't want it to end. That's what I find most of my runs. Like the state park is my favorite place to run in Saratoga. Yeah. Like that's where I told my kids when I die, like spread my ashes there. That's where I've done most of my living is there. Yeah. So I'm like, just throw me somewhere in the park. But that's where I feel like I've spent most of so many connective miles with friends and my family there my entire life from growing up in Saratoga. But you go for a run sometimes and you're like, sometimes even to just do a mile or 2 if that's all you have time for that day. Yeah. But if you can fit in more, it's good to get lost there.
I like that little 5K loop. If you go down Avenue of Pines and then across, all the way across Route 9 to the second entrance there, and then back through. Yeah. It's a nice 5K. But what I found was like doing a little spiral loop in there. Maybe I'm getting a little nitty gritty here, but it's like you just go along the perimeter, and then a little loop inside of that, and then a little loop inside of that, and then you end up back where you started. Yeah. Those are like my favorite type of routes. Yeah. I'm not a fan of out and back routes. Yeah. I like loops. Yeah. Because I get to see something new. Usually on the way back, I'm like, all right, I've already seen all this crap. I'm tired, and I know where the finish line is. You know, it's just like a mental thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I love, like, I don't often plan my routes in advance. Like, if I'm leading a run club in Saratoga, I have that planned, usually mapped out, sometimes posted. But when I go for my own, when I was younger, and like at my old house before with my kids, and when they were younger, I would have like a daily route I would do every morning that was the same thing. But in the past few years, I usually will go to the state park and I'm like, where do I feel like going? And just kind of, and that's part of the mental clearing of it is like, maybe I want to do some trails. Maybe I want to go past the geysers. Maybe I want to throw a hill, and maybe I want to just do Avenue of the Pines and Gideon Putnam Road. And I like having that freedom to just kind of pick your own route. There's so many great trails there.
And the state park is really nice, but Saratoga in general is really nice. Yeah. I used to live on Franklin Street, and I would go down Beekman, across the railroad, through the park, and back. Yeah. And it was great. Yeah. I love, in the past few years, that's one thing I'm excited to share, like in this race for people who maybe haven't explored a lot of Saratoga. We've got Spring Run Trail now. Yeah. We've got Railroad Run. Of course,
since Paleo. I think it may have been the later years, possibly the bike path by the tree nursery, and that beautiful little windy spot going towards the golf course there.
Yeah.
We've got so many gorgeous places, and if you go downtown, then it's like, yeah, you got stoplights, you have a reason to take a break.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have. That's why we needed this race too. Is we have such a beautiful place to run. Like I love. When people come in, I'm a realtor in the area too. So like when people come in, like go there, go, check this out, and to just share it with people. There's always, or if you want to go through Skidmore and do the hills there, that's another gorgeous place to run that's pretty safe.
Yeah.
So.
And there's trail systems. You got like Lake Bonita. There's the Daniels Road trails over there. Tons of good stuff.
Yeah.
Tons of good stuff.
We're blessed to have all this in our area.
Absolutely. So. And thank you again for putting this all together. If people want to get a hold of you and access either the run club or get more information about the marathon or half marathon, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. Social media is usually the best way. We have a page, IronSaratogaHalfMarathon.com, that's on Facebook and Instagram. We also have an Instagram page, Iron Social, that I also manage. Jessica Hauprich on social media. But that's usually the best way. And and we're looking for, more people to, if they have questions about the course that aren't on, we have a website through ironlocal.com for the race. But, and we're also like right now we're starting to look for sponsors and people that want to be involved. And for sponsors, we want to be able to let them put swag in the bags so they can have more exposure to people that are health minded in our community. So
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'll try to help spread the message as much as I can. And hopefully this reaches people that want to hear it and want to get involved, and it explodes for you. I'm super excited, and I'll do all I can to help promote it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for having me here. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, you too.
Thank you, my friends. Stay healthy out there. Check her out. Check out the Saratoga Half Marathon, the I Run Social Club. Get out there and run. Peace.